Hey. This is Dredd from Miss Valley Gaming, and this is Sports Talk with Dredd. Today we're going to talk about the three biggest issues in the NHL. And towards the end of this, I'm going to give you two bonus issues to make five biggest issues, but we're going to concentrate on three for now. Now, as we discuss what I feel are the three biggest issues in the NHL right now, I want you to keep an eye out for something. Think about what's being said about these issues. Think about who's the one saying the things that are being said. All right, that's all. Just think about that while we talk about this. So, biggest issue, one of the biggest issues in the NHL right now. I'm not ranking the top three. I don't know. They're just there. So the first of the top three biggest issues in the NHL, in my opinion, right now, is the issue with the investigation and lawsuit with the Chicago BlackHawks. This is not an area I know a lot about, so I can't speak to the law part of it. There's a lot of it I won't talk about because I just don't feel right about it. There's no way I want to get involved in anything that victims of these sorts of crimes, and I'm not saying crime hasn't been committed yet because I don't want to legally, put myself in that situation. But crimes of the sort that are being reported, victims of that, I don't want them turning on me. I just don't want to get into any of that discussion. But if we look at the investigation going on right now, here's my thought. And this has not been said very often that I've seen, if at all. It may have been hinted at a few times, but think about this. Unless someone has lied, okay, so unless someone has lied about what happened, or unless someone has lied about what was told to people within the BlackHawks organization about what happened. So unless one of those two lies happened, I don't see any way that we're going to come out of this without the Chicago Blackhawks having a very, very big stain on the organization. I think if no lies were told in those two ways I'm talking about, then I think somebody or somebody's made a very grave and serious mistake. Now, you talk about that being the culture of hockey. You talk about that being the culture of men who don't like dealing with these kind of things, certainly not publicly. You talk about it being the old boys club. You could talk about many different things, the locker room mentality, sports mentality. Doesn't matter in the end. Somebody, unless one of those two lies was told, in which case we're getting false information, then somebody made a grave and serious mistake that has impacted lives in terrible ways. And I don't know whether somebody could go to jail for this. I'm going to guess not, but I don't know. I'm going to guess somebody could be sued depending on what information comes out. And I will be surprised if the information that comes out is not in some way, some parts of it hidden. I will be surprised. I know they said they're going to come out and fully share the results. I know that. Good on them for saying it. Until they fall through and I see the results and I judge for myself and I listen to anybody investigating who might be saying whether or not, we think it all came out or no, we think it didn't all come out. I can't make a judgment on that. But this is a big story. Now, again, I want you to think about what kind of things are being said in the media, etc. What kind of things you're hearing about this, and it's fairly quiet most of the time. Maybe if you're in the Chicago area, you're hearing a lot more than everybody else is. I don't know. Think about who's saying it and who's not saying things. Okay. Let's move on to a second big issue. So, again, another of the top three biggest issues facing the NHL right now, or in the NHL right now. The Arizona Coyotes. This is a team that used to be owned and ran by the league. This is the team that switched owners many times, that has switched arenas many times, they switched cities. They used to be in Winnipeg. Um, this is an organization that is very, very troubled. Uh, where that fault lies, you're gonna have to make up your own minds on that and look over what you think are facts and make your own decision. I don't know if you can lay 100% of the fault with anybody, and I don't know how to divvy up what fault there is amongst parties that could be at fault for the state of that organization. Now, we've heard just lately that the arena has been pulled out from under him. You got 1 year, one more season to go, and then you're out of the arena. And they're saying there is no negotiating. We've made our decision. This team owes us too much money. We're tired of this. End of story. That could very well be 100% true. Or we've heard it's a negotiating ploy. That could also be true. However, consider a lot of the things being said and whispered, and you can read different articles online that are hinting at this over the last few months, even all of this year so far. I've read some things that have, taken a harsh look at the new Arizona Coyotes owner and had some pretty negative things to say about the way he's handling it, about the way his employees feel about the way he's treating them, etc. Now, is that a hit piece by somebody with an axe to grind? Could be. Is that true? Could be. Is it false? Could be. Is it somewhere in the middle? Could be. You or I don't probably know. But when those kind of stories pop up, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. And I find it even more interesting when it's the NHL themselves, the head office, the league, saying, don't worry about it. This is just a negotiating ploy. The Coyotes will be staying in Arizona. Don't worry about it. So the league is saying, oh, no, the arena's just trying to negotiate. The city's trying to negotiate with them. That's all it is. This is just a bad negotiating ploy. It'll blow over. It'll be fine. They'll work things out. Maybe they will. But that narrative's going against what the city of Glendale, I believe the arena's in, what the city of Glendale is saying. And they're taking a very hard stance. This is it. We're done. I don't think it was helped any by the fact that Coyotes were trying to get an arena built by going halfers, I think, with one of the local universities or whatever. That probably pissed a lot of people off too. Like, hey, we've been doing all this. We've been bending over backwards to help you. You're badly in debt. You're not keeping up with your debts. And now you want to pull out and leave. How are we ever going to collect our money then? If that's what's being thought by the city, then I can't blame them. It's taxpayer money that they're throwing at the Arizona Coyotes, and they're not getting their investment back. So that's a very interesting situation. Our third of the top three things, stories, issues facing the NHL would be Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel. I'm starting to feel sorry for the guy. I really am. If you ask me, do I like him on a personal level? From what I've seen of him and heard of him, no, not really. But that's okay. I don't dislike him. I think he's a great hockey player. He's probably a very nice young man. But something about the way he speaks and some of the things he said has grated on me. Now, I understand he's part of an organization that, sorry, Sabres fans, but the organization is crap, and it's been crap for a while, and I haven't seen any signs of it getting better so far. I haven't. Doesn't mean it's not, but if it's getting better, it's getting better at a snail's pace. This is an organization, again, it's floundering badly. It is bleeding. And somebody needs to put a gun to its head and to put it out of its misery. Another story, but and again, sorry, Sabres fans. Jack Eichel. Okay, so we're 6-7 weeks away from training camps. Jack Eichel still hasn't had surgery. Jack Eichel has neck problems. Jack Eichel can't play with those neck problems. Jack Eichel needs surgery. Jack Eichel could have the surgery that the team says he should have, or he can have the surgery that he and some of his doctors say he should have. So, personal doctors. Well, the one Jack Eichel wants, as we all know, is a lot more risky or deemed risky because no NHL players ever had it before and then returned to play. So they don't know. Other athletes have had it and returned to play, though. So we'll throw that out there. So do I think the Sabres are being ridiculous? Yes. I think there was an easy way to solve this. To say, hey, Jack, we appreciate you. We want you to play. We're not sure about this surgery. We'll let you have it, but we'll let you know that we're not advocating you to do it. And you've got to be signed something on paper right here that says my contract becomes null and void if I cannot return from this surgery, this risky surgery, to play hockey. That puts the ball back in Jack's court. If he's confident enough and he signs off on that, cool. Goes, has the surgery. Worst comes to worst, he can't play again. That's terrible result for Jack Eichel, let alone the Buffalo Sabres. But at least Buffalo Sabres would not have a salary there with a player who can't play and have to keep paying him. Best case scenario, he has a surgery, he returns, and the Sabres go, we are so glad that it worked out for you. We're happy. We now know that a player can do this. Next time this happens, there's going to be, less risk involved. That's awesome. Thank you. Let's go. Let's play. And then just keep going, trying to make the team better. That's not what happened. They are dragging this out. They're asking for the world for an injured player who may never be able to play again. We don't know at this point. Because if another team picks him up and he has the surgery and it doesn't work for him, this is a problem. This is a big problem for the league. This is one of their marquee players. And he's getting screwed over by a team making some poor decisions. A lot of poor decisions on the case of Jack Eichel, which is why I feel sorry for Jack at this point. I really do. I hope he gets out of there. And maybe he goes to a team like Anaheim. Anaheim allows him to have the surgery. Jack Eichel has the surgery and comes back towards the end of the year, hopefully as a good player, and goes on to have a long career in Anaheim. Or something along those lines. That's how I hope it ends up. For Jack. Not that I want to see him out here in the West. Just saying, but, Actually, I wouldn't mind see him play. Just don't want to see him play my Oilers and beat up on them. Okay. Or make it harder to make the playoffs. So those are my top three stories of what's going on in the NHL right now. And I'm going to give you the two bonus stories. And again, think about those three stories. Think about who's covering them in the media. Think about who's talking about them. Think about the things that are being said. Think about maybe the people who aren't saying something who maybe should be in some of the cases. And then we'll move on. We got two more things here I want to cover. One is concussions. This story has been pretty quiet since COVID hit. But, we had one lawsuit where players were like, hey, what about long-term effects for concussions? Other leagues, other sports are saying, yes, there are long-term effects to having concussions. We know that. We're going to have a fund here. We're going to help people. We're going to make a payout. We're going to do what we do. The NHL has refused to see that logic. The NHL is, once again, failing its former athletes, those who have retired, whether, retirement just because the game has passed them by or retiring because of concussions directly, and who later in life have find themselves with a lot of issues in their brain due to those concussions. The NHL is failing them. This is a very, very sad thing. The players should be fighting for this very, very hard in the next negotiations they have. I really hope they get it together and realize how important that is. It's a lot more important than going to the Olympics, for instance. So that's an issue they really need to get going on. And the other thing I want to talk about then is refereeing. A lot of people unhappy with the way referees are calling games. A lot of people unhappy about disciplinary punishment handed out for things or not handed out. People are not happy about the way star players and or irregular players are being treated by some players, especially in the playoffs, and basically getting away with it. Is this a concern? From the amount of outcry there was during the playoffs, I'd say it's a big concern, or it should be. You know who's just totally mum on the situation? The NHL. Huh. Come to think of it, all 5 of these issues that the NHL is facing, have you noticed they don't have a lot to say about them? They're quiet on most of them, or they take a really positive spin that goes against what a lot of other people are saying, suggesting, or even pulling out facts and proving. Think about the NHL. Gary Bettman and guy underneath him, Bill Daly, right? Bill Daly. I think that's the guy. Sounds right. Forgot his name for a second there. Gary and Bill. Lawyers. Trained professional lawyers. They speak like lawyers. They also speak like politicians. Please understand, Gary Bettman is a lawyer who is running a company made out of 31 million or billion dollar, just depending, franchises. 32 now, I guess. 32 multi-million dollar franchises, all under the banner of the NHL, being run by Gary Bettman. He's in charge. That's not actually what the commissioner is supposed to do. It's not what he does. But under Gary Bettman, that's what he does. He is the authority figure. I am in charge. Owners will listen to me. Governors will listen to me. Everybody, shut up. Don't say the wrong thing. That's Gary Bettman and Bill Daly under him. They will spin everything into a positive message, or say nothing at all, or just ignore things. Or perhaps, at times, even reach out to a few people maybe in the media that they know and can trust, and have them put out some puff pieces or spin stories, either to distract people or to try to spin a story and make people believe that it's not quite what you've been told already. I'm going to leave this discussion right here. I'm going to ask a couple questions. What do you guys think about the NHL? What do you think about the way the NHL is run? What do you think about any of these 5 stories? Do you think my point that the NHL is not really addressing, excuse me, any of these is a good point? Is it true? Do you think the NHL needs to address these 5 points and come out and actually be truthful for once? I don't trust Gary Bettman or Bill Daly. I don't trust the NHL as an organization the way it's run. I don't trust the old boys club that's in charge of things. The owners and governors that stand right underneath Gary Bettman and cup their hands up to catch his piss when he takes a pee. I don't trust them. Not a bit. Now, I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan, and some people have called Ken Holland, their GM, part of the old boys club. That's when you're not understanding what the old boys club is. If you're saying that he's been around hockey for a long time and he knows a lot about hockey and he isn't as willing to let go of what he knows in order to grab onto other newer ideas, yeah, that's fair. But don't throw old boys club out there if you don't understand what that actually means. You want the old boys club, you go looking at Gary Bettman and the people circling around him. Sometimes, folks, the NHL is just one big circle jerk. And I really wish it wasn't on the players to have to be the ones to stand up to these things. But if the players don't do it in negotiations, and they don't stand up to the NHL and demand changes in some of these areas, it'll never happen. This last year has proven NHL doesn't really need fans, not in the seats. They need a good TV deal. With that, they can survive. So you not going to games or not purchasing a jersey or not grabbing a hot dog at the arena is not going to make a difference to the NHL. It's not going to make them change anything. You have no power in this. None at all. Does the media have power? Some, but the media is pretty self-serving for the most part. honestly. Pretty self-serving. There's some good ones out there. At times. At times. I'm not gonna put the gun to all the media. I'm just saying overall, the media is self-serving. They're looking out for their best interest most of the time. They if they hit too close to home and they get warned, they'll back off. So no one's going to change this but the players. And the players also have to be self-serving. They got to look out for themselves as well because nobody else will. Because down the road, if they get too many concussions and they end up old and feeble and with problems in their head, NHL ain't going to be helping them. No. So I'll leave you with that. That's my hot take there on the three main issues facing the NHL right now with the two bonus issues. And I welcome your comments. So, Sports Talk with Dredd. This has been Dredd from Miss Valley Gaming, also known as Miss Valley Arts and Entertainment. Hey, we do a lot of stuff here. Not just gaming, not just sports. We do music as well, reaction. We do conversations, and we have passion about the things we love. Get involved, people. Appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. Peace out.